Hi, welcome back to Media Champions here on Daily Ad Brief. I'm your host, Mary Therese, coming to you from Atlanta. Very excited to have with us on the program today from Raleigh, North Carolina. We've got Christian Jennings, who is the Executive Vice President of WMHARPER. She's also the Chief Digital Strategist. So excited to have you with us, CJ. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk about media planning and the importance of having that plan. I've read somewhere where you talk about the shiny object syndrome, which I just absolutely love because you've heard that before. But let's talk about why you need to have that plan and maybe stay away from those shiny objects.
Right. So there are a few things that we come up against frequently. We have clients that we step into the door and they've been running a series of digital ads only, and it's all focused on performance marketing, and they have so many campaigns they're running and so many different agencies they're trying to juggle that it's really kind of a spray and pray approach, I guess, is one way to look at it. And so we like to come in and sort of disentangle that for them and help them. The other is you don't have, time, resources, budget all play a factor into it. And so it's the job of media to take a look at your budgets, take a look at your business goals, to understand who your audience is, and then utilize that information and the data that you're able to find on their media consumption to develop a plan that is going to get you the greatest ROI against the budget that you have.
You can tell the passion that you have about marketing and media. What was your first job? How did you get into this?
Oh my goodness. I started in PR and realized very quickly that PR was not where I wanted to be. It just wasn't my jam, for lack of a better way to say it. But I slowly found myself moving from working in a social media only agency. And in that agency, I went from channel management to building out a social media promotions team to then co-founding a sister company for them around influencer marketing as a media buy. And from there, my career has just moved into every aspect of media and marketing and learning each of those different channels and how they all kind of work together, which landed me here at WMHARPER, where I really had a chance to bring it all together, serving as the head of our integrated media team, working as the digital strategist. I was able to pull it all in and even learn stuff around the traditional side that I had not really had a lot of exposure and experience to yet. And it's made my passion grow even more for wanting to make sure that you have the right plan in place based on your budget and that someone is looking at it from a holistic perspective versus, SEO reporting on how SEO is performing, social media performing on how social media is performing, and so on and so forth. Instead, there has to be someone or some team responsible from looking at it from that holistic 30,000 foot point of view to say, okay, but how is it all working together and is it working properly?
I imagine that a lot of new customers for WMHARPER probably have that mind explosion when you explain all of this, because let's face it, media buying and media planning is not what it was 10 years ago, not even 5 years ago.
No, it's not. And sometimes their head explodes. Specifically, when how are you going to fix this one channel? And I tell them, well, I don't even know if I'm going to recommend that channel for you. So let's start with how are you going to feel if I come back and say, you shouldn't be on Facebook, for example. They typically hesitate at that, but we start everything with doing what I refer to as a marketing optimization analysis of what's happening right now before we even develop that plan, because as you know, planning takes weeks and weeks and weeks. So in the interim, how can we make what you're doing right now better? And it's typically when I do a deep dive into their data and analyze what's working, what's not working, why it might not be working, that's when they kind of have that aha moment when they realize someone actually is thinking about it from, looking at the data and thinking about it from a why are we even here and why are we even doing this perspective. And for some people, they're right away, they're like, oh, you get it. Okay, take it, go run with it. And for some people, it takes pulling it back layer by layer and getting them comfortable with us taking over. But eventually they always do.
Everybody's got a story to tell, that. And when you're looking at prospective clients, who are those clients whose stories that you will tell? Will you go from the very small to the very large, or do you have a specific niche that you're looking for?
Well, there are a few niches that we look at, and it's not, we are category agnostic, and that's by design. We don't want to go, okay, we did this thing for this healthcare company, and we know it works, so let's do it again. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, because every client, no matter their category, is unique. What we look at are clients that are we bucket them into 4 categories. We do not want to work with the Coca-Colas of the world. No offense to Coca-Cola, but Coca-Cola knows their brand, they know their strategy, and they just need someone to come in and keep media running for them. And that's not really our passion. Our passion comes in with finding those people who have not quite found their way. We call them emerging brands. Those are the great idea and a lot of founder passion that need help figuring out how to bring it to life. Those who are, investor brands, what we label it as, people who have investors and they need to show growth quickly. And we come in and we help them. Or those that are challenger brands. I love a brand that is really ready to challenge the industry. Those types of organizations are all ready for a big change. They're open to our process. They're open to our way of thinking. And so that means it's not just developing a media plan for them. It's companies that allow us to come in and find their, inner superhero, find that one thing that's going to set them apart from the rest of the category, so they can actually, hit category domination versus competing within the category. And then moving them from there is those clients that we're most passionate about working with.
Tell me how you convince a client that working with an outside agency such as yourself is a really good addition to their team. Maybe they have an internal media person or marketing person, but let's talk about why it's important for them to partner with someone like you.
Yeah, it's 2 things. Imagine being the director of media within an organization, but you don't really have a team around you. And there's no way to juggle it all yourself. You need a team to come in and serve as kind of your SEAL Team 6 to get it all working so that you can stay, thinking higher level. And so that's one way that we kind of go in and help them understand the need for an agency. But then the other is by talking to them about the point that they're so intertwined and invested in who they are today, what they've done today, what's worked, what hasn't, that it's hard for anyone to take that step back and really figure out who they are, what they stand for, and what their purpose is, from which ultimately a strategy and a plan will be developed. So we're the one that we talk to them about our process, and it's our process that I think helps us get in the door with them, and that's helping them understand that from day one, the first thing we're going to do is start with your leadership team. Oftentimes leadership teams are not aligned. They all have an idea. They all know they want to build a house. Here's an example. They all know they want to build a home, but the CEO may think they're building a bungalow while the director of marketing may think they're building a mansion. And that in itself is, wrong. So for them to understand, our first step is to get them aligned. And then we bring them all along the way by starting with consumer research. It is really, we don't guess ever. Everything starts with data. And it's them knowing that our plan is never to guess, and that we're not going to just go off in a silo and come back and say, here's your brand and here's your plan. But instead, we're pulling them along all the way. They start to get comfortable with and understand the benefit that working with an outside partner can really bring to the table.
And I just figured out how you guys present that aha moment. You just described it to a T.
Yep.
Christian Jennings, we really appreciate you being on the program today. You guys are doing great things for customers out there. Hope you'll come back on the program again.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Have a great day, CJ. Really appreciate you being here.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you. If you want to know more about what Christian Jennings and the folks at WM Harper are doing, all you got to do is go to our website, dailyadbrief.com. We'll see you next time on More Media Champions. I'm Mary Treese.